On the night of November 22nd, 1987, somebody in Chicago took control of live television. Not a studio, not a camera, the signal itself. This is Field Record Archive number 006. For a few seconds, the city saw this face. A plastic Max Headroom mask, dark glasses, and a suit. Behind it, a sheet of corrugated metal rocked from side to side. Nobody has proved who was inside the mask. Nobody has proved where the transmission came from. And nearly 4 decades later, the case remains open in everything but name. The first intrusion came shortly after 9 o'clock during the sports report on WGN's evening news. The picture failed. Then the masked figure appeared. There was no intelligible speech, only a harsh electronic buzz. WGN's engineers reacted quickly and restored their program after roughly half a minute. That should have been the end of it. About 2 hours later, viewers of Chicago public station WTTW were watching Doctor Who, an episode called Horror at Fang Rock. The picture broke again. The same face returned, but this time it had a voice. For around 90 seconds, the intruder lurched through a deliberately chaotic performance. The audio was distorted, but references to WGN, local broadcaster Chuck Swirsky, and television advertising could be heard. A gloved hand appeared. A soft drink can was displayed. The
Chuck Swirsky. Jesus. What's the way? God is fading. I still see the X. Oh, my pile. I guess they're a giant masterpiece for all the greatest world newspaper nerds. My brother is wearing the other one. But it's dirty. I thought you got pork on. Where do I go? They're coming to get me.
performance ended with the masked person exposing part of their body and being struck with a fly swatter by a second person. Then Doctor Who simply returned. At WTTW's control room, staff could see the hijacking but could not immediately remove it. The pirate signal ended on its own. This was not someone breaking into a television studio. In 1987, stations commonly sent programs from their studios to distant transmitters by microwave link. The leading explanation is that the intruders generated a stronger signal on the same route, overwhelming the legitimate feed at the receiving antenna. Former investigators have said the necessary equipment could have been obtained second-hand, but using it successfully would still have required specialist knowledge and the right location. And there was another difficulty. WGN and WTTW did not share the same transmitter site. Whoever did this appears to have understood how to reach two separate stations, hours apart, without being traced. The Federal Communications Commission investigated, engineers were questioned, technical possibilities were examined, contemporary reports warned that the people responsible faced serious penalties. Yet no arrest followed, and no identity was publicly established. Theories have accumulated ever since. A disgruntled broadcast employee, a small group of television engineers, amateur radio operators, students or artists staging an act of media sabotage. Online investigators have named possible suspects, but the public record contains no evidence strong enough to turn any of those names into a responsible accusation. The footage does tell us a few things. At least one person performed in front of the camera, and another person operated the moving background and appeared at the end. Someone supplied a camera, playback equipment, and the means to transmit. The repeated local references suggest familiarity with Chicago television. Beyond that, interpretation begins to outrun evidence. Was it a private joke that escaped into thousands of homes? A protest against television? A personal grudge against WGN? Or simply a group proving that, for one night, they could make the city watch whatever they wanted? There is nothing supernatural in the recording. Its terror comes from something more ordinary. The screen was supposed to be controlled, and suddenly it was not. The face is preserved. The voice is preserved. The method can be estimated. But the people behind it walked away and never came back for the credit. Be curious. Be skeptical. Be respectful.